Hey guys, welcome to my poolside this evening. I am going to be doing a little bit of a Q&A session. So about a week ago I posted in the CEO Movement Pro group and I asked people to interact with the post and to give me a ton of questions on any particular subject. Yeah, it didn't really matter, and I was going to do my best to empty out my opinions, knowledge, whatever you want to call it, onto camera and give you definitive 8 worlds answers to anything that you wanted to know. So here goes. I got a ton of questions. I'm going to go through them all one by one and give you the best possible answers that I can. So the first one was from Daniel. So Daniel was asking about what kind of Facebook ad would get my attention to click. Now, I get bored of Facebook ads. I see ads all the time, and unless an ad is relevant to me, then I'm not going to click it. So what do I mean by relevant? It doesn't have to be selling something I necessarily want, but for it to catch my attention, it's got to give me something that I'm actually interested in. So what I'm interested in, personally, I love to see people cooking. I like to see Formula 1 cars. I like to see MMA fights. I like to see people making things. Now, these are things that are personal to me. Now, if I actually go ahead and see, if I see something like that on my feed, I'm going to watch it. Now, if I watch it, then it turns into an ad. I'm going to be very interested on what the actual ad is about. So that is going to make me want to click. So how do you go about doing that? It's quite easy. You basically choose the interest. So for example, MMA, yeah, fighting, and you put a video clip or a picture of somebody doing that fight, and then you go along and you find a way of linking that into your actual ad. So if you want to see fights all around the world, if you want the freedom to go and do that, then easy, click on this link, we'll show you how, for example. Okay, so basically make that ad relevant. There's nothing wrong with going niche, but when you do go niche, make sure that ad is suitable for those people. If you're going to do an advert towards truck drivers, make sure that you've got a truck in the video or in the picture that you're going to put. Okay, so it's always really important to choose the right clip, a video, the right image, and make it relevant with the interests that you're putting out. That's my advice. So next question, would I ever consider a CEO movement workshop for young entrepreneurs that wanted something different out of life than just to go to university? CEO movement, that's it, we've already done it. That's what it's all about. CEO movement is about giving people an option, giving people something different that they can actually do instead of going to university. I've got nothing against people who go to university, but in my opinion, unless you want to be a doctor or an architect or something that actually requires the skills given by university, then all it is a social experience, and a very expensive one at that. If you actually want to learn skills to make money and to do business, CEO movement, that's what we're here for. If I had to write my own story, which 3 people would I include and why? Well, there are 2 obvious people within the CEO movement platform, and obviously my meeting with both Rai first and then Rob was absolutely instrumental on everything that we've achieved and everything that we're doing right now. But the other person who is completely and utterly vital in my story is my daughter Sophie. If it wasn't for her, I would have never had to go back to the UK. I would have never struggled. I would have never had to do the jobs that I did, and I would have never been in the position where I had to achieve the results that I needed. I would have always been happy just to plod along, to do small jobs, to travel around, do this and that. She was the one that made me actually get up and do something, big, something huge. So she has to be in there. She is my reason for being here and for doing what we're doing. Okay, cheers, Soph. I'm going to move on. Next question is from Vera. She wants to know about my morning routine. Is it the same every morning? Now, I'm going to be completely and utterly honest here. I've been listening to Rai going on about morning routines for years. It's never been my thing. However, I have recently adopted it, and in the last 2 or 3 months I have been doing my morning routine, not every day but most days, and that for me is to get up. Personally, I like to check all my messages, everything that's come to me overnight. I like to sort that out first thing. I will then go down to the gym and I will work out for about an hour. After that, come right here where I'm sat, down to the pool, swim for a little bit, read a book, and once I've read my book, then I will go about my day. I will do whatever work or whatever chores or whatever things that I choose to do for the rest of the day. So my whole morning is basically dedicated to that routine. Since I've been doing it, it has really changed the way that I have been productivity-wise. And right, mate, you're 100% right. Cheers, I appreciate it. And I appreciate the push. So Vera's next question, what advice would you give yourself 5 years ago that would benefit you today? Definitely set up a business online. It's got to be that. 5 years ago I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what direction I was in, and I needed to do that. So maybe the other thing that I would tell myself is to use social media more and to use it to my advantage. I wasn't using social media back then, and it has changed everything, yeah? So definitely get online and get online more. The hardest sell I've had in this business, now I could look at that in two ways. The hardest sell that I have to the general population is to convince them that what I do is actually real. Because most people simply don't believe it still. They think that, you know, it's something that is, you know, fantasy, yeah, that it's too good to be true. A lot of people still don't get that, and that is the hardest sell in general. The hardest sell that I've had, an actual sale, yeah, I gotta hand it to Rob Rottingham, yeah. 4 months we were in discussion, and I didn't even try to sell, to be honest, and 4 months we were talking, and it took him a lot of convincing before he realized that this was the right move for him, and wow, it was so worth it, yeah. The results we've had have been absolutely awesome. The results he had has absolutely been awesome, and it's changed him and it's changed myself into completely new and better people. So definitely worthwhile pursuing those sales. Trey, he wants to know what kind of applications or products I use for shooting and editing my videos. I use the camera that I'm shooting with right now, which is a Canon Rebel T7i. I've got a Rode mic attached to that. It's on a Gorilla Pod, and I've got a video light, just a generic one, which is mounted on top, which kind of lights everything up at night time. I also use the DJI Osmo, but honestly I use it less and less. It's a great gimbal. It means that you've got really amazing flying style images. I use the Mavic Pro drone, but what I'm using more than anything right now is my phone, yeah. And this is the Galaxy S9 Plus. The Galaxy S10 Plus is pretty similar, the new model that's just come out, and basically the video quality and the photo quality is absolutely astonishing. But more than anything else, the fact that you've got it in your pocket means that you can use it at any time. So it's definitely the most practical thing to have. For editing, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, Premiere Pro is super intuitive. It did take a little bit of getting used to at first, but after you've learned to do one or two effects, then you realize that all the effects from that point on are pretty much the same kind of procedure. So really easy to learn, definitely worthwhile the time investment getting to grips with it. Now, when I first started, I was using Filmora and other apps that were basically giving these templates out. So you take a certain effect on template and you just stick it on top of your video, and I found zero satisfaction in doing that. It was very easy, it was very quick, it gave kind of decent results, but it wasn't mine, and I couldn't fix things exactly the way that I wanted them. So it was really important for me to switch over to a pro editor, and that gave me the freedom to do pretty much everything that I wanted, all right? So Adobe Premiere Pro, I would advise to anybody, no matter what level you're at. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's worth it. Rolandas is asking me quite simply, what am I grateful for? Now I'm going to give a cheesy generic answer here. I'm really sorry, but I've got to do it. And I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for waking up every morning. I'm grateful for the apartment that I live in. I'm grateful for living in this beautiful city that you can see behind me. I am literally grateful for the sun rising every morning. I'm grateful for every meal that I have. I have gratitude all day long. I recognize absolutely everything that I've got, and I am constantly grateful for each and everything that I have in my life. Now, you might call that a cheesy answer, you might want something specific, but that's the answer that you're going to get from me. And it's so important to realize that all of these things that you take for granted and all of these things that you might think are normal in your life all of the time, they're actually things that are very, very special indeed, and you should be grateful for them. And the more things that you can see and identify in your life on a daily basis that you can be grateful for, the better your life will become, the happier you're going to be, the more content you're going to be with everything. Okay, so yeah, gratitude goes everywhere, and my gratitude extends to each and every person that is watching this video, that is interacting with me on social media or in real life, all the people that I have around me, be it my friends, be it in my team, regardless. Yeah, I am so grateful for everybody who I'm involved with in my life right now. Yeah, I couldn't wish for a better existence at the moment, so total gratitude. Thank you. Next we got Isa, I don't know. She wants some recommendations on books to read for personal development. So I would definitely recommend the books that we are always talking about. The Magic definitely has to be read. Anything by Abraham Hicks. It's a little bit deeper than The Magic, but yeah, go for it if you're up for it. And also books like Happy Pocket Full of Money, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, things that will teach you what money is, how money works, how you can actually use money to make money rather than using your time to make money. And it's really important to understand how money works in order for you to be able to make more money and to start, you know, working effectively. So really get into those books, definitely. But there's another book that you should definitely look at, and that book is one that I really cherish. And it's a book about humans. So it's a brief history of humankind or mankind, I forget, and I forget the name of the author as well. Google it, you'll find it, and it basically tells you the history of us as a species, where we came from, how we developed, what we have today, and pretty much it predicts the future of us. And as we're working with other people all the time, to be able to understand exactly who we are is essential. So that's definitely something that I would recommend everybody to take a look at. If you can't read books on a daily basis, if you don't have the time, audiobooks are fantastic also. Download the audiobooks or podcast or whatever, put some earphones in and you're away. When I was driving my trucks every day, I would be listening to audiobooks all day long, and that was making double use of my time. A, I was making money from my time and from my effort by having a job. B, I was being able to educate myself all day long by listening to audiobooks. Absolutely awesome. All right, next question is from Cam. How's it going, Cam? Cam wants to know if I have a thought, a feeling, or a physical object that gets me fired up and ready to take on anything. Now, some of you might notice I got these little flowers, not only tattooed, but I have them in my house. If you see any of the lives that I do, and basically for me it's pure happiness. And whenever I see that, whenever I look at myself in the mirror every morning, it completely and utterly gets me going. It reminds me to be happy. It reminds me to put a smile on no matter what. And that is what really pushes me. So that is something that I always have. Everywhere that I go, I always put up a piece of artwork. It always changes depending on my mood, depending on where it is. But every business I've had, every restaurant I've set up, every house that I've lived in, I have these pictures, and I put these pictures, I print them out and I put them on my wall, and I also obviously I carry them around on my arm all of the time. So that is my go-to little image, and you'll see that often if you look at any of my work or any of my videos. So an example of a situation where you had a very difficult team member or client that you turned around and the results were awesome. There are so many examples of people who simply didn't get it, and I have taken them aside and I've told them in very blunt terms exactly what it is that they're doing with their lives and what it is that they need to be doing if they want to get further on. And they haven't always taken it the right way, but they have always got back in touch with me within a few weeks and thanked me for telling them that it's right. I'm not going to drop any names in here, but it's happened time and time again with people that I've spent my time pushing them and showing them exactly what is their true capabilities, and afterwards they've turned around and they've killed it. And it's really, really gratifying for me to have people message me, and some people, it's been a year or 2 years or even more since I've shaken them up, and they have constantly never forgot the fact that I'm the one that got them started in the first place. And it's not just in this business, it's in other things that I've done within my life, and that's something that is really important to me. Okay, so the next question from Cam is, with Facebook advancing so much, do you find it benefiting to still target the most common niches like travel, entrepreneurship, etc., etc.? Other markets might be more rewarding. I would definitely go for niches, and I would definitely try them all. There is literally so many niches out there where people are able to use an online business to their advantage. So basically, obviously, you've got the cliche one that people, they want to go and travel the world, they want to live on the beach, they want to work from their laptop, right? But you've also got single parents, you've got moms who want to stay home and spend more time with their kids. You've got guys in their 50s who just want to retire right now. You've got people who hate their boss, who don't want to commute. You've got people who are just happy to stay at home all day long. There are so many reasons for starting an online business. So go niche, absolutely. But whenever you do go niche, make your ad relevant to that niche. Yeah, don't focus on a niche and the interests, and then don't make that ad anything to do with the actual niche that you've put in your interest. Make sure that you focus on both, and you'll get the rewards. Okay, last question from Cam. Now, I did say 3 questions, but this is a really cool question, so I will go for the bonus question. My current favorite techno track or artist. Now, it's not very current because I'm old school as far as techno. I grew up on a diet of dirty French techno in the 90s, and my favorite is still one of these guys. It's Monsieur Oizo, and in English that's written Mr. Oizo, O-I-Z-O. So yeah, he got a little bit of fame with a Levi's ad back in the 90s, and he had this yellow glove puppet that was dancing along to his tune. Other than that, he's pretty obscure, but yeah, check him out, Monsieur Oizo, absolutely awesome stuff. If you're into techno, you'll love that. So, next question here we have from Caitlin. Caitlin is asking, what tools do you use to become more confident in business and in new social situations? Really good question, and I'll tell you straight away, build up a team, yeah? Build up a team, and you will see as that team grow, your confidence will grow tenfold all the time, because you're growing, your team's growing, everybody's growing, and you are able to really start to motivate them, encourage them, and see them grow. They're going to look at you and look at your growth. Everybody is helping everybody, and everyone is spurring you on. I am a very, how do you say it? I don't like social situations. I'm not comfortable in social situations. I always try to avoid being around too many people. However, when it comes to business, when it comes to people who are within my business, all of a sudden I feel very, very comfortable indeed. It's been really weird for me in the last year to be out in LA, to be in Bangkok, to be in London, surrounded by people from the team, because normally I would run a mile from any situation where I was in a room with, you know, more than 3 or 4 people who I knew. And not only do I feel confident, but I'm really, really enjoying the fact that I'm around so many people. So definitely build up a team underneath you, watch them grow, and they're going to watch you grow, and everybody's going to get more confident in the process. Next question from Caitlin. How do you filter out noise and discover your true, authentic self amidst all the other influential internet people? Remain true to yourself. It's easier said than done, but in order to do so, switch off. Yeah, switch off from time to time. Don't spend all day buried in Facebook. Yeah, you're a creator. Yeah, you're not a consumer. So create, post stuff, but don't spend too much time looking at social media. Really don't spend too much time around other people on social media. Spend time with your friends, with people who are not directly involved in the business. If you've got friends who understand what you do and are supportive, that's amazing. Yeah, so it's really important to switch off. Be online, definitely, but don't be online all the time. Remain true to yourself no matter what. If you feel that because of your business you're going in a certain direction and that direction is not true to you, then put the brakes on a little bit, you know, switch off the internet for a few hours or a few days even, and really think about what track you're going on. And for me personally, this is one of the points of me doing these videos and answering these questions. I want people to see the true me, and I want to put the true me out there. There's more to me than just a guy who does business online, who started off a team of people. So I want that to be very, very obvious to everybody. So really important that you switch off and you take a step back and you enjoy life without the whole influencer thing going on. Last question, where are we going to dinner and does it include drinks? Well, we're going to Southern California, so what is it? It's basically a decent taco truck or In-N-Out, right? I think that's the only two options available. I need to Google it, I think, and I'm sure both of them will do drinks, so that's going to be fun. Let's move on. All right, so next up we got Lillebeth is asking about my relationship with my father. So my father really struggled to understand my business and still does. He doesn't really know much about what I do because he refuses to talk about it and doesn't listen to anything I say. And he, for whatever reason, I've never been able to overcome that with him. So what do? I ignore him completely and utterly. If he's got nothing positive to say, then that is, I don't want to hear from him. I still have a kind of relationship with him. We don't talk often, we don't see each other often, but honestly, I just ignore it, and it is disappointing. And it's disappointing for me because I would love him to show a little bit more interest and to see and recognize and be proud of the success that I've had. But hey, that's his problem, not mine. I really believe that family should be supportive. And just because somebody is your family and just because they are blood doesn't mean that they have the right to put you down. And it doesn't mean that you have to be around them, accept what they say, listen to what they say. It's really important to recognize that it's often your friends and your business partners and the people that you work with online, in my case, that are way closer to me than any of my family members. So it's really essential not to give people too much of your time if they're being negative, if they're not being supportive. It doesn't matter if they're a parent, a sister, an uncle or aunt, it doesn't matter at all. If they are not willing to support you, they're not giving you the love and the care that you deserve as their family member. So it's really important that you don't take anything too much to heart from your family. Just because they're blood, honestly, it don't mean shit. I value my friends way, way, way more than people in my family who don't give me the attention and the support that I need and that are unable to be proud of what I do. So yeah, that's my opinion on that. What tips do I have for someone who's still living at home that feels overwhelmed by their parents' negativity? Get the fuck out. Literally, make a plan, get away. Either move in with a friend or move in somewhere that is free. If you don't have much money, go somewhere cheap. Go to somewhere in Eastern Europe. Ukraine is super cheap in Europe. There are lots of other places. Otherwise, come out to Asia. Find yourself somewhere that is cheap. Stay there and work on your business. Focus on your business and build your business up. And hopefully, let the results that you have speak for you and let people be proud of you because they're going to be able to see the results that you're getting. Unfortunately, that's not been the case in my business. My sister understands what I do. My uncle really understands what I do. My father hasn't got a clue. That is his problem and that is his loss. And the fact that he doesn't get to communicate with me so much as a result of that is 100% his problem. It's not mine. It's certainly not going to upset me. So I would definitely recommend, if you've got negativity from your parents, ignore them, stay away from them, fuck them off for a little while. You don't have to run away permanently, but there's no need to let them bring you down. They don't have the right to do that, so don't give them that right. Next question from Lillebeth. Do I miss the school bus? That was probably the best period of my life that I ever had. Driving around Europe in a big yellow school bus from party to party, festival to festival. Absolutely awesome. I loved it. I loved that time. It was a complete freedom time for me. I had no money, didn't matter. I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself every day. Sure, I missed the school bus. Would I do it again right now? Probably not. No, I'm very happy with the apartment that I've got. I'm very happy with my infinity pool. I love the life that I live right now. The school bus was awesome, but that was me back then, and it's definitely not me now. But yeah, sure, I do miss it. Next question here from Vincent. Vincent wants to know, how did I cultivate, guide, motivate my very first couple of signups to get them going and running in this business? Really good question. So I set up a group chat straight away on Messenger, and I put videos in that group chat every single day. So rather than reaching out to people and asking them questions or trying to interact with them or sending them messages, I just put a video out showing them what I was doing on a daily basis, and basically allow people to really follow on from my example rather than do what I tell them to do. So every single day I get up, every single day I focus, every single day I have plans, and every single day I make a video and show people what I was doing. Now these videos, they never went out in public. I never put them on Facebook or whatever at that time. I was still very shy on Facebook. In fact, I didn't even have a real Facebook account. I didn't have my real name or anything on it, but I would put videos every single day in a group chat with my team, and they would either follow what I was doing and interact, or they would ignore it. That was their issue, yeah. But to make sure that people see the efforts that you're doing on a daily basis is absolutely essential. Lead by example. All right, next question. Dating back to your first few ads, what was your go-to most successful target audience, demographic, interest? Now, I'm a slight bit embarrassed about this, but I'll reveal it anyway. When I first got going, my first killer ad that made a whole load of impact, my audience was Donald Trump. I'm sure it wasn't him personally, but he was the interest that I put in there, and I got some seriously good results out of that. But I also got seriously good results out of Twinkie Bar. So, you know, you never know, and it doesn't have to be a logical audience that you choose, but that is where I got the most interest from when I first got started. So this is about 3 years ago. I'd be very surprised if you get the same kind of interest from that today. The final question, question 3 from Vincent, is the best foot massage in Saigon. I would definitely say Miu Miu Spa. They've got 5 or 6 locations around the city. It's really good price, amazing service, consistent throughout, and it's totally legit before you ask any questions. So basically, Miu Miu Spa, you can Google them. If you're in Saigon, definitely I recommend that you go there for a decent, either a foot massage or Thai massage or whatever kind of massage you want. It's definitely the best. All right, next question here we got from Stephy. What is wrong with reverse osmosis? Heard that it wasn't good for you. When I told my parents this and couldn't explain, I felt silly. Reverse osmosis basically strips the water from minerals. This is why you can't put reverse osmosis water through a K8 machine, because it won't allow for electrolysis, because you need minerals in the water for electrolysis to take place. Pure water basically has got no minerals and doesn't allow any current to go through it. So basically you have stripped the water from your minerals. Now what happens when you drink water that is void of minerals is your body has to compensate for the lack of minerals in that water, because that water is going to the fluid in your body. So basically you are giving up your minerals in order to add minerals to the water that you've just added into your body, and then as you sweat and pee and whatever, all of that water and those minerals are then going to be flushed out of your body. So it's actually scavenging minerals from your body. It's taking away minerals. Mineral water often is similar, because the minerals in mineral water, although they might look good and sound good, they don't match with the minerals that you have in your body. So again, your body is having to give up minerals to compensate for the minerals in the water that you're drinking, which basically you're scavenging the minerals that already exist in your body. Drinking Kangen water, is quite the opposite. It is a match, and it allows you to become fully hydrated without getting rid of the minerals that you've already had. So in a nutshell, that is what reverse osmosis does. I don't do reverse osmosis. Relationship advice, I like this. I am both happy and unhappy in my relationship. I don't feel fully supported, and I feel like we might not be the right fit, but there is so much I do like, and it's hard to commit to a decision. Well, If it ain't right, it's wrong, basically. However, that doesn't mean that you can't enjoy it. What means is that you shouldn't commit, and you shouldn't commit to anything that is not 100% right for you. Now, we all talk about compromise. You have to make compromise in a relationship. I disagree. You do need some kind of compromise, definitely, but you don't want to compromise your values too much. You know what you want, you know what you deserve, you know how good you are, and you deserve to have somebody who realizes that and appreciates you and supports you for that. So you shouldn't have to compromise too much in any relationship. If you're enjoying parts of it, enjoy those parts, but don't commit. Don't tell somebody that you are theirs when you are not fully happy with them, and that is all about communication. It's also down to you to tell your partner if something is not right. Give them a chance to fix it. If you tell your partner, look, I need this to happen in the relationship, and your partner turns around and says no, you know for a fact that this ain't the right person for you. If you tell your partner and all of a sudden they realize, wait, maybe I should have been doing this, maybe I should have treated you in a different way, maybe I wasn't really aware of what I was doing or wasn't doing, in that case you're giving them a chance to really focus and to change and to do something different. You can't force anybody to change, but you can give them the chance to realize it. So it's only fair if you think that there might be something there to let your partner know. But personally, do not compromise, or at least don't compromise too much. You are worth more than that, and it is up to you to find the right person. Now, if you can't find the right person now, don't worry, don't stress, don't start to think that you're running out of time or whatever. It is better to be happily single, and you can make yourself happy, and you can do all of the things that make yourself happy. If you are happily single, it is far better than being in an unhappy or a mediocre relationship, believe me. Don't feel the pressure from society that tells you that you need to be in a relationship at a certain time or at a certain age. It's simply not true. You can be very happy and very single. You don't have to be lonely and single at all. You can enjoy being single, and you can also work on yourself and know who you are. And every single new person that you meet, you're learning more about what you like and what you don't like. And even if that person's not a fit for you, you can understand from that relationship that I want more of this, but I want less of this. And then the next person that you attract into your life should be a closer fit than the last one. It takes time, it takes effort, but don't settle for anything less than what you deserve. Really, really important advice. You deserve better than that. So the last question from Stephy: if I follow all the steps in CEO Pro and fully commit myself using automation, of course, for personal reasons I don't want to do organic marketing or reach out to friends and family, at least for the beginning stage, will I make it to the top? Absolutely. The only thing you've got to do is commit. The only thing you've got to do is be doing the same steps every single day. Be consistent, Be consistent with what you're doing. Be persistent, Don't ever stop. And that is all that you need to do in this business. The only thing that is going to stop you is you either giving up or slowing down, or putting on the brakes or putting it on pause for a few weeks or a few months or whatever. If you push it, it doesn't matter what you've got at the start. I started off without even a Facebook account, right? I had no following whatsoever. I didn't have any friends on social media. I only got an Instagram account, I think 2 years ago. My Facebook account is probably 3 years old now. I had an account before when I first started out, but I didn't have my name on it. I was super shy on social media, and I started out purely and utterly using automation, using social media advertising, finding my audience like that, okay? So really, everybody here, all you have to do is follow the training, really follow it to the letter, and be consistent. Don't ever stop, and you will get the results that you want. So next up is from Linda. She wants to know what the 3 things are that separate the successful ones from the ones that don't have success within CEO movement. Number 1, believe in yourself and believe in the results that you are going to get. They are going to happen to you. It's just a matter of time. Number 2, you really want to be persistent. Never ever give up. You have to be consistent with your efforts on a daily basis. Be willing to go the extra mile and be willing to keep on pushing your business, okay? The last thing that you really need is goals. Have those goals, focus on those goals, and really go for them every single day. Have those goals, have this vision of what you're going to get in the future, and as you are seeing this vision every single day, write it down somewhere that you look at every day, put it on the home screen of your phone, and keep focusing on this vision, and you are attracting the future that you want. But most importantly, it's action. taking a committed action on a daily basis, never ever stopping until you get the results that you want. The only thing that's going to stop you from being successful is you. So the second question from Linda is, what is the best advice you've ever received in your life from somebody? Simple, start an online business. It was probably about 4 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was driving a truck, I was really lost, and I saw a guy who I knew from the restaurant that I had before. He was a customer, he came in from time to time, and he had started an online business. Now he was working with Amazon, which is not something that I wanted to do, and all of a sudden I contacted him and I asked him what he was up to, and he's like, I took a course, I took action, and I've got the results. Now he is making millions now, he's living on some island somewhere. That is the best bit of advice that he gave me. Now I didn't want to do what he was doing, I didn't want to copy what he was doing, but I learned straight away that I needed to look for courses, I needed to educate myself, and I finally ended up, after several attempts, learning about funnels, learning about social media marketing, and getting the business started that we're in right now. So getting started online, it was absolutely essential to me, and I'm so grateful for that advice. Step 3, what is the most important thing that motivates you in life nowadays? My happiness. Pure and simple. I want to be happy on a daily basis. Not only do I want to be happy, but in order to be happy, I need to be surrounded by happy people, and that means that I want my daughter to be happy, even though she's not physically near me all the time. The time that I do get to spend with her, I want her to be as happy as possible. I want my team to be as happy as possible. I want everybody to be making as much money, as much sales, and as much progress as possible, changing their lives, quitting their jobs, flying around the world, doing things that they've never thought possible in their lives. And that is what drives me, and that is what makes me happy on a daily basis. When I get a little message from somebody in the morning telling me that they're so grateful for something that I did, or something that I told them, or a video that I put out, or whatever, that is what gets me going. So I just want to be happy, I want to make other people happy, I want to be surrounded by happiness, and I want to be able to influence other people's happiness as much as possible. That's what gets me going. Alright, we got questions here from Brian. When starting out, how difficult or easy did you find juggling CEO and your 9 to 5? Well, I didn't have a 9 to 5. I had a 7 till 8. No, 5 till 8. I had a 5 till 8. So I would start my job at 5 a.m. and I would work all the way till 8 p.m. 15-hour days driving trucks up in the north of Scotland, and I still managed to find an hour or so every evening when I stopped to pull out my laptop, fire it up on the 4G hotspot, and do my work. So obviously I would focus at the weekend and try and get as much done as possible on a Sunday, but during the week I would always commit to putting in at least 30 to 60 minutes a day on my laptop whenever I had the opportunity. It is that level of consistency, finding time. Yeah, it's not about I don't have the time, it's about making the time. You have time, you can sleep less, you can do things in a different way. I used to take a toilet break with my phone and I'd be texting and emailing at the same time. Yeah, that is how committed I was at the start, and you really need to focus every single minute of your day at the start, particularly if you do have a full-time job. Don't let that full-time job distract you from everything that you're going to get from your business. That full-time job is temporary. The business is what's going to take care of you for the rest of your life, all right? So your priority has to be your business. Do your job because it's going to be funding you, it's going to be funding your ads, and it's going to be funding your life, yeah? But focus on your business. Never, ever, ever say, I don't have time. Make time. So question 2, in my experience, what has been the most difficult thing to overcome in an online business? Simply, people don't believe what I do. And when I meet regular people, they are always skeptical about what it is that I do. They don't fully get it, they don't believe it, they don't see it as real. They think that I'm doing something dodgy or wrong, or nobody understands from the general normal world what it is that I do, and that is really hard to overcome. People don't take what I do seriously. I will talk to people who have jobs and decent jobs, and they will think that I don't have job security and I don't have a real job, whereas I'm working a lot less than them, I'm making a lot more money than them, and they don't understand that they can get fired at any time, they can lose their job at any time, not just because they've done something wrong, but because their company changes, has a merger with somebody else, gets repositioned somewhere else. You know, there are so many things that can happen. There are no guarantees in the world anymore. There's no such thing as security. So people who have normal jobs and normal lives, they kind of tend to look down on what it is that I do, even though I'm getting way better results than them. Now, that is going to change, and it's already starting to change. People are realizing more and more that there are so many more opportunities out there than they believe possible, but it is the one thing that I struggle with. I do feel marginalized, and I hope that in the future that's going to become less and less, but it's also why I like to spend more time with people from within the community, from within the business, people who actually get it, because these are the people who I want to have conversations with. These are the people that are switched on, they're tuned in, and they have the same way of thinking as me. So Brian's last question: if you have access to a product or a course that may be of benefit to other people in CEO, what should you do? Now, this is, okay, it's a good question, it's an interesting question, and I think I know where you're coming from. But basically, if you see something that could be interesting to other people in CEO, feel free to share it, yeah? Now, just like if you read a book that might be interesting, yeah, we can share book titles around, and all of that is good, but there is a situation where you need to be careful, and that is that we do not cross-promote within CEO. So if you have an interest in the thing that you wish to share, i.e. you're going to be making money from it, you've got an affiliate link, whatever it might be, in that case, please do not put it anywhere in CEO. But if you think that it is really interesting and you think that it could be beneficial, contact one of the leaders and let them know about it, and they will basically work with you, and they will work out a solution and see whether it's something that we can actually use or not. So feel free to share absolutely anything that could be of value. Share links. If you've had access to a YouTube video or whatever and it's been useful, feel free to share it, share the link, yeah? But if it's something that has to be paid for, and if you're going to benefit from it, then be very, very careful, because we do not allow any kind of cross-promotion within CEO. So we got a question here from Pedro, and he wants to know where to see the video that brought me my first 10k months. Easy, go on my fan page, Nate Wells, and search on videos and look for the one with the most views. You'll find it there somewhere. Honestly, it's not something I'm proud of. I only put the 10 seconds on at the front, and it was somebody else's video for the rest of it, but that was the video that got me my first 10k month. That was the video that got this business started, so I'm ever so grateful for it. So here we got a question from Nadia, and Nadia wants to know, if I had all of the time and all of the money in the world, where would I be and what would I be doing? She specifically says that I can't say travel or Saigon, because that's a given, and she wants different specifics too. Now, I'm not going to play by your rules, Nadia. I am going to be in Saigon for the foreseeable future. This is my city, and even though I'm not born here, I'm not from here, and my face doesn't match, I've been living here on and off for the last 14 years. It is the only place that I call home. It's the only place that I've ever really called home. And I really can't see myself living anywhere else. I came here with literally 300 bucks in my back pocket 14 years ago, and I've built myself up since then, and I am literally made in Vietnam, and I'm proud to be so. So Saigon is my city. This is where you'll find me right now, and this is where you're going to find me for the foreseeable future, no matter how well things go. I have no idea. None of us know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? But as far as I'm concerned right now, I have no intention ever of leaving the city, no matter how much money I have, no matter what changes in my life. However, if I have an unlimited amount of money, the question of what I would be doing with it, I would be helping people out. I would be helping people to help themselves. Now, I am not a charity guy. Don't get me confused with one of those. I'm not a kind of guy who goes around giving money to things that will make people's lives better. No, I like to help people to help themselves. So there is a story that I'll share with you, and this happened out in India maybe 15 years or more ago, and I was staying on the same beach every year for pretty much 6 to 8 months of the year, and I got to know this guy who's an Indian guy, a fisherman, and he, in the rainy season, he was out fishing, and in the dry season, he built a small little coffee shop on the beach, and he had 4 little $1 a night huts behind it. Now, I used to stay in one of these huts, and I used to hang out with him, and we became really, really good friends. And we used to party a lot, and we used to get up to all kinds of shit, and you know, we had a good time, yeah, but it wasn't productive time, it was a fun time, right? And the 3rd year that I went to this beach, it had started to become a little bit more, how you say it, touristy, and more people visiting, and there were more people there. And I got there before any of the tourists came. It was still raining when I got there, so I was the first Westerner on the beach. And he came up and he greeted me with a big hug, and he sat me down and he said, like, I want you to hear me out. This year, I'm not gonna party. This year, I'm gonna behave. This year, all I want to do is I want to save up money, and I want to work, and I'm going to save up every single penny that I make, and then I'm going to completely renovate my little plot of beach, and I am going to build these big huts on stilts, and they're going to have family-sized huts, and they're going to rent out for $20 a night, and they're going to have bathrooms attached, and they're going to have sea view, and they're going to have proper beds and proper fans and proper electric. And so he had this idea, and I'm like, awesome, yeah? And so he says, next year, I'm gonna put all this into place. I'm like, cool, happy for you. Now, he then told me that he was gonna have to literally save up every single penny for the next year in order to open that. And I'm like, why not do it now? He's like, I don't have the money. I said, I've got the money. I asked him how much it cost, and he calculated about $2,000. And I said to him, look, I'll give you $2,000. He said, look, I know we're friends and all, but I don't want a business partner. And I said, I don't want to be your business partner. I don't want to work. All I want to do is give you money that is sitting in my bank account doing nothing, so you can give yourself a kickstart, all right? And he said he'd think about it. A couple of days later, he called me and he's like, Nate, let's do it. I said, okay. I went down to the bank, I got $2,000 out the ATM, I came back to the beach, I handed him the cash. 2 days later, we hired a dump truck and we drove 24 hours into the jungle, sat in the back of the dump truck, we filled it with bamboo, rode 24 hours back to the beach, sat on top of the bamboo, on top of the back of the dump truck, and in 2 weeks, we built up all of these, you know, more luxurious, higher-end huts on his plot of beach. Now, as soon as the tourists started to come, they loved it, and they were really, every single night he was fully booked. Now, not only was he fully booked, but he also gave me the first hut, the front hut, the one with the best view. He's like, that's yours, that's free, and that's yours for the whole year or whenever you want it. So I had my place for free, which I didn't ask for, but he was making considerably more money. In fact, he was making 20 times more money every single night from his business as a result. After 3 months, he called me over, I was walking by, and he's like, Nate, catch, and he threw me a bag, and in this bag was $2,000. And that $2,000, he had earned that in 3 months. He was able to pay me back. A year later, he had built his own house. Yeah, he bought himself a car, he got married. A year after that, he had his first kid, and he started out in his family. And all of that, he was able to do from his hard work, yeah, not mine, but because I had given him a 3-month loan of $2,000. Now, I wish to be in the position to be able to do that as much as I want, whenever I want, and to help people who want to help themselves, to help people who want to have a better life, to actually get that better life. I'm not into helping people who want to sit in their asses and do nothing. I'm not into helping people who literally they have no idea and they just want somebody to pick them up and to show them where to go and what to do. That's not my thing. But as soon as somebody is entrepreneurial, they got a good idea and they're motivated, if they've got the skills to do so and the only thing that is lacking is money, then I want to be the guy to help them. That's where I want to be. So the second question from Nadia is, besides strong self-belief, how do you mentally tackle the parent situation of their view on your choice of business? As it's not a case of dismissing them. Family love are strong bonds, even through the bad. Okay. So the second question from Nadia is about family, and she wants to know, how do I mentally tackle the parent situation of their view on my choice of business? She says it's not a case of dismissing them because family love is strong bonds, even through the bad. Well, again, I'm going to disagree because I would dismiss them, and I have dismissed them. My father chooses not to be interested at all in my business. If I actually talk about it with him, he's very dismissive and very negative, and as a result of that, I don't talk too much to him, and I see that as his problem. Just because he's my father doesn't mean that I have to stick by him and I have to talk with him and I have to accept his negativity on a daily basis. It's simply not necessary. Blood is supposedly this thing that links us together, and I simply don't agree with that. I have got so many really good quality friends out in my normal personal life also, who I've acquired through CEO Movement, through this team, and those friends are worth 100 times more to me than a negative family member. Now sure, they're not blood, sure they're not family, so to speak, but they are literally the best thing that I've got, you know, and they are worth more than any family member. So I would focus on my friends, I would focus on the people that matter, I would focus on the people that get me, support me, that are proud of me. And if my parents are unable to understand what I do, and if I try my best to educate them, which I have, and they still don't get it, or they still refuse to be positive, refuse to be supportive, refuse to be proud, then honestly, I don't owe them any more of my time. Just because they created me doesn't mean that they can be negative. Now, if you have a family member who is stopping you from starting your business because they're not going to lend you the money to get started, that is fine. That is 100% fine, because that is up to them to do that. And honestly, you want to find your own money, right? Now, if you have set everything up on your own, you've done everything, you're putting in the effort, they have no right not to support you. No right at all. So if they don't support you, you are not obliged to stick with them. Stay with them because they're a family member to a certain extent, of course, but you don't have to give them as much time as you already give them. And let them know that, and let them know that if they want your time like they had before, they need to see what you're doing and they need to be proud of what you're doing, because what you're doing is something truly amazing. But maybe they can't understand it because it wasn't something that was available to them or their generation. Maybe they think that because they've worked so hard all of their lives, like grafted, physically, putting in the hours, and all of a sudden that we can do something that doesn't require that maybe it's not like real work or whatever. I don't care, yeah? They have to adapt and they have to see things from our point of view. As long as we're doing everything right, it is their duty to support us. So if your parents can't support you, knock them off a little bit, yeah? You do not owe them all of your time, always, yeah? Your friends are worth far more to you than a parent who is unsupportive, yeah? So really make sure that they understand that. Give them the option, give them the opportunity to make an effort, but if they're not going to be making an effort, you don't have to be there for them all of the time, yeah? You don't owe them anything. Feel comfortable with that. Don't feel guilty about not being there for a parent who is not there for you, ever. All right, next up we have a question from Mike, who wants to know the best approach to dealing with tax on Enagic earnings, specifically if you're living outside the UK and having Enagic commissions paid into a UK bank account. Now, firstly, disclaimer, I am not an accountant. The advice that I'm about to give is not from an accountant, so listen to it by all means, but check it out with your accountant before you go ahead and do anything. If you are living outside the UK, and this is what I've been advised personally, for 183 days or more per year, i.e. more than half the year if you're not physically in the UK, and the year is counted 365 days before today, okay? So it's a rolling year. So in the previous 365 days, you've had less than 183 days actually in the UK, then you do not have to declare taxes on commissions that you earn. If you've set up a business, then obviously you do have to declare taxes, but if you haven't set up a business and you're just earning commissions, then you don't have to declare those commissions. Now, if you are living in another country, then you have to work out what are the tax laws in that country. Now, there are lots of different instances. Some countries are going to tax you on the earnings that you have overseas if you are living in their countries. Other countries, they are quite happy if you're not working in that country and you're not actually getting an income in that country, that you don't have to pay tax. So you need to be really sure about the rules of the country you're living in. My opinion on taxes: taxation is theft, okay? There are way too many taxes going on, and governments around the world are really taking the piss and taxing people way too much. Now, I'm happy to contribute. I'm happy to contribute to the society that I live in, but I'm not happy to pay for wars. I'm not happy to pay for nuclear weapons. I'm not happy to pay for all of this bullshit things that are not in my name. So I definitely would do whatever I can to avoid paying taxes legally, obviously, yeah. When we're talking about tax avoidance, we're talking about using legal methods to not pay tax, either setting up companies, doing it in a certain way that you're not putting yourself in any danger whatsoever. However, it is really important that you do pay your fair share. So me personally, out in Vietnam, I am renting a top dollar apartment that I pay taxes on. I go out to restaurants pretty much every day and I get taxed on every meal. Every time I go shopping or buy anything, I pay for taxes on that. And I am spending way more than the average person out here. So I'm definitely contributing to society by living here and spending here. So it's important that you do contribute, but I would not be comfortable paying more than 10% tax anywhere. Now, for Americans that are watching this, you live in a completely different world. Americans who are overseas still need to file a tax return. So any money that you make, doesn't matter which country you're living in, you've still got to file a tax return in the US and pay tax within the US. So definitely worth talking to an accountant. But in the UK, we do pretty well. And the deal that we have, that if we live outside the UK for half a year, I'm pretty happy with that, because I don't want to live in the UK for more than half a year, and in fact more than a few days in the UK each year is enough for me. Second question from Mike: when you start to make back-to-back 10k months, what do you feel is the best way to use that extra income you didn't previously have? If you're not spending it, yeah, then invest it. You do not want to have money lying around in a bank account. That's stupid. Why would you want to have money that's literally sitting there doing nothing? So you invest it. How do you invest? Solid investments are either stocks and shares, if you know what you're doing. Invest in gold if you think the price is going to go up. Invest in crypto or other bitcoins if you have a good plan, yeah, but make sure that you know what you're doing before you make an investment. If you don't know what you're doing, talk to somebody who does. Get expert advice, and don't ever just think that, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, Bitcoin's going up, so I'm going to buy Bitcoin, because we all know last year what happened to Bitcoin. It went up to, I think, about 18, 19 grand, and then it crashed down to about 3 grand. So it really, you don't want to be reckless with your money. You want to invest it and invest it well. Real estate is a really good way also of investing money. Obviously, you need to have a lot of money to be able to invest in real estate, but you can also go in and make investments with other people. 10 people putting their money together can buy a property off a ground plan, and as soon as that property has been built, you can flip that property. It's relatively risk-free if you know what you're doing. So basically, my advice is always invest the money that you are that you're building up, yeah. Invest that capital, make that capital work for you, make that capital produce more money, but do it with expert advice, yeah. Do not do it on your own. Do not Google stuff and then go ahead with it. I've done that several times and I've been burnt, yeah. So always go with expert advice, always go along with people who know what they're doing when you're investing, but do invest. Question 3, once you hit 4A, what is the best strategy to reach 6A2 in the shortest possible time? So when you hit 4A, set up a new ID. You can do that by buying another machine or an Ukon or whatever. You put that ID under yourself, and then you focus all of your sales underneath that new ID, and that's giving you a second leg. Now, in the team that you've already accumulated before then, you want to make sure that you've got at least one, if not more, solid players in that team, and you need to really focus on that person and give them all the support that you can possibly give them to make sure that they grow their business, because you need to have 2 legs, yeah? It is not about getting to 6A in this business. 6A is something that we all talk about. Yeah, I want to be 6A. Yeah, it's good to be 6A, don't get me wrong, but you want to be 6A too. Because when you're 6A2, it means that you have 2 6As beneath you. And when you've got 2 6As beneath you, they are naturally going to grow. And you are naturally always going to grow, and you are always going to be on top of them. So it's really important that you focus on 2 legs. One of them can be your own underneath a new ID, and one of them has to be somebody that you've got working on your team. So focus on your team. Give them everything. Focus more on your team than on anything else, yeah, because your team is what is going to be growing your business and building your business. So focus on your team 100%. Make sure they grow, and then all your own personal sales, throw them under your new ID. Your new ID is going to hit 6A. one of your team or several of your team are going to hit 6A, all of a sudden you now have a business that's going to take you to 6A2, 6A2-2, 2-3 and above. That's where we all want to be focusing our energy, yeah? All right, next we got questions from Tori. So Tori wants to know, who is the most inspirational person I've ever met and why? Now, I gotta say my grandfather, hands down. My grandfather was the most inspirational male, definitely, as I was growing up, but the person who I've ever met. So he was one of 7 brothers. He was born into a tiny little mining, not even village, it was like a hamlet. And all of his brothers worked down the mine. Now, he went to school just like everybody, but he was the only person ever from his village to get a scholarship to go to the grammar school. So he, instead of going straight down the mine like everybody else, he had to walk over fields every single day, arrive at grammar school covered in mud, and he got so many problems with that because most of the kids who went to grammar school were rich and he certainly wasn't. But at the end of it, he got a qualification and he also went to work at the mine because that was the only employer around. But instead of working underground on the coalface like everybody else, he was the accountant and he was working above ground. Now, he was able to build his life up. He left that mining village after the war, and he and my grandmother were able to settle down in a larger town, and that's where I ended up growing up. So my grandfather, he showed me that he could make a difference, that he could do something different, that he could really extract himself from the class that he was brought up in, that he grew up in, and make a difference and be somebody completely and utterly different. So not only was he an accountant, but he also taught me about mechanics, he taught me about metalwork, he was an author, he was a local historian. Yeah, absolutely incredible guy, and he is my biggest inspiration. When I left school age 16, and I left the UK as well, and when I came back to the UK a year or so later for a short visit, he came to me and he said, look, ever since you were born, I was putting a little bit of money away, and it was a little bit of money, it wasn't a significant amount of money, but still, he'd been putting money away for my education, and he's like, look, I understand that I went through the education system and I understand that it's not for you, and this money that I've saved up for you, this is something that I want you to have anyway. And that was an enormously humble moment for me, that he recognized that the education that I was getting by going out there, by working, by setting up my own businesses, was at least worth as much, if not better, than a real official university education that he had hoped that I would have. Amazing man, definitely my biggest inspiration. Second question from Tori. If I took over the world, what's the first thing I'd do? Alright, I'm going to give a completely fantasy answer because it's a fantasy question, and please don't take this literally, but here goes nothing. I would fill every single water supply in the world with a massive ton of LSD. I want to see every single person in the world trip out for one day, yeah, and it would completely and utterly change the world and change the way that people are. I am sick and tired of seeing this divisive, separatist kind of mentality that is creeping around the world at the moment. A world where we have social media, a world where we have internet, a world where we're able to communicate for the first time globally, instantly, and at the same time, what do we get? We get all of these people who are pointing out the differences and blaming other people depending on their race or their passport, where they grew up, and basically singling out certain sectors of population and blaming all of their problems on them. Now, I hate this mentality. We need to be more inclusive. We are in a global nation right now, and the only way as a global nation that we're going to survive is together, is realizing that we're all people and that we are all the same species and that we all need to work together rather than to isolate ourselves and to separate other people and to exclude other people. It's simply not on, and a serious dose of acid would sort that out straight away, because that is literally going to strip down all of these beliefs that people have acquired over the years, and it's going to make them really see and question who they truly are and what is their purpose in this world. So if I could take over the world, I want everyone to trip the fuck out for one day at least. So question number 3 from Tori. Now I've been racking my brains about this one and I'm really not sure. So do you remember what you told me you called yourself when we were at the 8-day event in LA on Venice Beach whilst we were waiting for our headshot pics to be taken by the camera guy? So apparently I was telling her a little story about myself and my confidence, and I did a pouty pose at the end and I have really no idea what it was. Could it be a selfie queen? Could it be something like that? I have no idea, and I would love to know. So please, Tori, let me know what that conversation was about. I remember being there, I remember that time, I remember the photo shoot, I remember talking with you. I don't remember exactly what it was that I said, but I would love to know. You got me curious now. All right, next up we got a question from David. So this opportunity started with just me and my beliefs. What was going through my mind at the beginning, and how did I overcome it? And what was it that kept me going? So for me, it was kind of desperation. I was working 15-hour days. I was driving the truck every night. I was driving the truck every day. I was sleeping in it every night, and I had no life whatsoever. I was far away from my daughter and I was desperately unhappy. I knew that I needed to be back in Asia. I needed to be back in a life that I enjoyed. I needed to find my happiness, and I could not see my happiness coming from me being in the UK. So it was really important that I get out of the UK, and it was really important that I find a way how. So I knew that I'd already had businesses. I've had businesses for the past 20 years, and they've been a lot of hard work, a lot of headaches, and I have never had a huge amount of success from them. I've always been comfortable, but I've never become very, very wealthy from any of my businesses, and I needed to do a different approach. I needed something new. So what I did was I started to educate myself. I started to read books. I started to listen to podcasts, and particularly books giving me the financial knowledge that I needed to actually work productively, to work smart within my business. I've been working hard all of my life. It was time to work smart for once. So I knew what I needed to do, and that was I needed to get out of England, and I knew that I needed a business to do that. I knew that I needed an online business to do that. And when I found this business opportunity and I recognized it, as soon as I knew that this was it, I went for it 100%. I never stopped. I never took my foot off the gas, not a single day. I was driving that truck every single day, and my head was all about making sales, get yourself back to Asia, and if it meant sleeping a couple of hours a night, that's what I'd do. If it meant setting my alarm for 2 a.m. and waking up in my truck to do coaching calls with people in the USA in the middle of the night time in the UK, that's what I did. And I pushed myself, and at times I was physically exhausted, but I knew what I was doing, I knew why I was doing it, and most importantly, I knew the results that I was going to get were going to give me the life that I wanted, and that's why I never gave up. So, second question from David. Ultimately, looking back at what you've achieved, finding Ryan and Rob, creating this amazing community, what would you say your goal is now, and what would you like to achieve? I mean, my goal is personal. It's personal happiness, but it's also to see this team grow. It's to see as many people as possible within CEO Movement find success, emulate what has happened to me, to Ryan, to Rob, to be able to quit their jobs, to be able to travel around, to be able to go and live somewhere new and experience a new country and a new life. And that is what drives me. And when I get messages from people who are living in a completely new way because of something that I did and because of something that I set up, I absolutely love that. So I want to continue with that. I want to see more results, and I want to see people get bigger and better and stronger all of the time in order to really fulfill their own dreams. And that's what I get a buzz off. I get a buzz off helping other people, and I get a buzz off seeing other people using the tools that I put down for them and running with it and making it a success. So I want to see more of that. Personally, happiness, and I'm happy. All right. Okay, so my last question from David: what is your best strategy talking to prospects, bringing them into CEO Movement, and finally getting them to start with an adjective? Lead by example. Pure and simple, yeah. Show them what you're doing, show them the efforts that you're making, show them the consistency of your actions, show them the results that you're getting, show them the changes in your mindset, in the way that you're living your life. show them the increase in positivity, show them that you're a happier person than you even were before. Now, even before you get results, you're going to experience changes and you're going to become a better person, you're going to become a stronger person, and that is something that people notice over time. So lead by example. Make sure that they're following you on social media, make sure that you're posting on social media, make sure that you're messaging them with videos and just showing them what you are doing. You don't need to sell to people, you just need to show people what you are doing, how you are changing, how your life is better, and people will see and they will make up their own minds as a result of that. People are going to be following you, they're going to be chasing you down, and they're going to be asking you what it is that you've done, how you've managed to achieve the success that you've got. Now, by doing that, you are then going to be able to bring them in, you're going to then be able to sell CEO and an adjunct to them. But what is the most important thing is that you live by the way in which you want them to be. And as long as you're posting shit on social media and complaining and, you know, being pissed off about something and complaining about your job, then you're basically coming over as a negative person, right? So make sure that you're posting nothing but positivity. Make sure that you're showing people how you wish them to be. People will follow you naturally. Next up, we got Christy, and Christy wants to ask, what has been the biggest and most significant self-belief that I've had to overcome / reprogram to allow success and abundance to become my physical reality? Literally doing what I'm doing right now. I had no idea that I could put myself across using social media or any form of media for that matter. I couldn't bear to put myself, even a picture of me, on social media. I didn't use social media, I didn't post. I had a Facebook account, but it didn't have my face on it, didn't have my name on it. And that Facebook account was literally just so I could run the fan pages of the bars and restaurants that I was managing or owning, 10 years ago. So basically, I had to overcome that. It was really, really tough. The first time that I made a video, I probably took about 30 takes to make a 10-second video, and I still cringed when I looked at it. I found it so uncomfortable, not only putting myself out there, but actually having the belief that people would be interested in what I have to say. And this is something that I still struggle with from time to time, and this is why I'm eternally grateful for the people who actually watch and interact and comment on the posts that I make, and specifically the people who've been asking me all of these questions on this post today, because it allows me to give answers out. So the more encouragement I get, obviously, the better I feel about it. I'm still a little bit uncomfortable with go live situations. I much prefer to make a video and edit it. I'm happy to host like masterminds and stuff like that in front of a home crowd, so to speak, rather than the general public, but it's something that I've really had to push myself to get over. I am an introvert, and I'm not the kind of guy who wants to get up and shout about and say, look at me, but yeah, I got something to say, and I'm a kind of guy who only talks when he's got something to say, and if I haven't got anything to say, I'd rather shut the fuck up than talk bullshit, right? So to get over that has been really significant for me, and it's allowed me to progress in a way that I never realized that I could possibly progress. Yeah, 3 years ago I was not doing videos. This is a whole new thing for me. All right, second question from Christy. One of the main motivations that I have for making a six-figure income is being able to help people with it. I want to set up schools and homes for kids in underprivileged areas and a lot more. So how do you use your income status, etc., to help other people in the world, or maybe the earth itself? I already answered this kind of question in one of the previous questions, and I will go over it again. Yeah, I like helping people to help themselves. I like giving people an opportunity, or helping people to fulfill an opportunity that they already have. People who have a great idea, who are smart, who are motivated, who want to make a difference, if they need a helping hand, I'm the guy who wants to help them out. Yeah, I don't like giving people food if they've been sitting waiting for someone to give them food all day long. I don't like giving people money who have their hand out for money. Why not? Because you're not actually helping the situation. You're allowing people to exist, and I don't believe in existence. People should live, they should thrive, and even though it might be a little bit painful, I know that everybody is not wired up in the same way that I am as far as entrepreneurialism is concerned, but it's really important that people start to take control and responsibility for themselves. And this is something that our society has encouraged for too long. The fact that people, they get a job, they work for a company, they get looked after, and it's really trained people to not think for themselves and to expect somebody else to help them out. And I think it's much better to have a bunch of people or a nation of entrepreneurs, of people who actually realize that the only person who's going to look after them at the end of the day is themselves, and it really allows people to excel and to push themselves to the next level. So helping people out directly who are not doing anything is not my style at all. I don't have a problem with other people doing it. I also have a problem with charity work because I've seen it with my own eyes. A whole bunch of people who set up these charities, and basically, even though they're giving out and they're helping other people, 90 or 70% of the money that comes in is to pay the CEOs, is to pay the executives, to pay the people at the top. And honestly, if I'm going to be giving out to a charity or something like that, I want all of the money going to where it's needed. And I think charities, not all, but in many, many cases, they are an excuse in order for people to make money. If you want to make money, that's great. I'm a hustler. I'm 100% behind anyone making money, but make it. Like, honestly, yeah, don't just put an excuse on, oh yeah, I'm going to do this charity and help them out in order to make money for themselves. So I help people to help themselves. That's what I like to do. So the last question from Christy is, am I vegan? And if not, will I take us somewhere with vegan options on our date in San Diego? So firstly, it ain't going to be no date in San Diego. What I'm offering is a meetup and to take one person out for dinner and really have a good conversation, get to know them and help them to take their business to the next level. Let them know a little bit more about how I work and understand a little bit more about what they've got going on inside. So I'm going to take this question from a vegan perspective, and I'm going to give my 10 cents on veganism. I'm expecting a whole lot of people to unfriend me right now, but hey, what the fuck? Here we go. So veganism for me is not something that I'm into. I've tried it. I did about a year and a half ago. I think I did 3 months purely vegan. So I tried it, and I was doing all the cooking, and I was going out, and I was looking at new ingredients and making new things, and honestly, after 3 months, I was so bored. Yeah, it's not enough. I'm a foodie, I'm a chef, and I like to eat. I love to eat cheese. I love to eat salami. I love to eat parma ham. I love to eat foie gras. I love to eat so many of these really amazing food products from all over the world. And all of a sudden, shutting myself out from that, for me, is something that I couldn't really imagine myself doing for long. Now, as far as animal welfare is concerned, let's look at the reasons why people are vegan. So firstly, if you want to become vegan for your own personal health reasons or your own personal enjoyment, I'm 100% behind you. Do whatever is right for you. If you want to become vegan, and this is what concerns me, a lot of people become vegan and embrace this label of I am a vegan. You shouldn't be a vegan. You should be yourself first and foremost. Yeah, you shouldn't have to label yourself. You should be proud to stand up for you as you are. If you are a vegan for animal welfare, for example, you have to understand that the animals that we eat, particularly cows and pigs and lambs and chickens and the regular eating animals, they would not even exist if we didn't eat animals. And if you were to leave them, yeah, they would all die painful deaths out on their own, because they would die of illness, disease, starvation, but mostly they would die from attacks from predators, because as soon as they become old or weak or sick, that's what happens. Predators, no matter how big or small, they're going to get them, they're going to attack them, and they're going to eat them to death, yeah, essentially. So it's something that is natural. There is a food chain, and we're part of that food chain. We exist somewhere on it. Now, that being said, I totally disagree with the industrialized farming, yeah, and where we've got animals literally on a production line all the time. However, to be able to kill animals, and I've killed animals in the past for food, I've killed chickens, I've killed lambs, I've slaughtered them, I've gutted them, I've skinned them, and I've cooked them and eaten them, yeah, so I feel that I'm fully able to eat meat. Now, people who eat meat but cringe at the fact of looking at some animal that's going to die, then I find that wrong. People who only eat meat when it's been packed in nice little plastic containers in the supermarket and don't identify that it actually came from an animal, also, I believe that's wrong, yeah, but it's really important as far as you are concerned that you understand why you are what you are, and don't just label yourself, I am a vegan, yeah, do it because you want to do it, because you're getting benefit from it, either health benefits, feeling good about it, whatever reason, it doesn't matter, yeah, but make sure that you're not just being a label because it's cool to be a label, or because that is what people are doing at the moment, or it's fashionable to do. So personally, I ain't no vegan. I eat meat. However, one of my favorite restaurants in Saigon is a vegan restaurant. I go there quite regularly. I'm very happy to eat vegan food. I don't need to eat meat, and I don't eat meat every single day. But I ain't gonna be no vegan. There's too much pleasure out in the world, too many things that need to be experienced that involve being open-minded. And I think that when you are vegan, you're basically excluding a whole part of enjoyment, you know, from yourself. So I'm also, and I've looked in the comments here, as Tori has put, I'm really good at converting vegan. So if you're a vegan and you want to stay vegan, stay away from me, because I am really good at putting arguments across that's going to make you want to go, maybe I should just like try that. So yeah, I'm not a vegan, and that's my take on veganism. So the next question I have is from Paige. Now Paige is asking about when you have one of those days where you want to get a lot of productive stuff done, but you're not feeling it. What do you do to pump yourself back up mentally? Do something different, yeah? Go somewhere completely different. Go somewhere nice, to a beach, to a river, to a lake, to a mountain, to a rooftop if you're in a city. It doesn't matter, but just go somewhere different. I like to jump on my motorbike and just drive, yeah, and drive fast and get out there and really have a blast somewhere or other. And that is really important to me. If I am staring at a screen or staring at a pad of paper and I want to do something but I find myself not doing it, then actually getting up and going out and doing something completely different, clearing my mind of it and coming back and then attacking what it was that I wanted to do with a fresh set of eyes, that is the way forward, definitely. Alright, so the next question from Paige is about having too many ideas. So what would be your advice to someone who has a gazillion ideas of things that they want to implement in their life and their business, who has a huge list of things to do, to read, to watch, to listen, people to engage with, just all-round never-ending list of things to do in order to grow? How do you manage self-inflicted overwhelmment and turn that energy into totally efficient productivity? There's a book that you should definitely read called Essentialism. I forget who it's by, but basically you really need to prioritize. The last thing you want is to be doing everything. If you've got all of these ideas, all of these things that you really need to do, yeah, then prioritize what is absolutely essential. What one thing is going to benefit you and benefit your business today. Because when you focus on one thing, you can put all of your energy into that one thing and grow it, yeah? When you're focusing on lots and lots of different things and you're putting your energy really thinly, you're spreading it around all these different things, then in actual fact, you're not being productive at all. Not a lot is ever going to happen. So it's really important to prioritize a thing. Choose the one thing that is actually going to make a difference. And if you want to read a book, Essentialism, I forget who it's by, Google it, but that book is exactly what you need in order to get that right answer. But yeah, prioritize all the time. Don't try to do everything. As soon as you try to spread yourself thinly, nothing ever happens. Nothing ever gets done. So the last question from Paige, and the last question that I've been given is how do I handle resetting goals if you didn't hit the original ones, mentally and process-wise? Quite simply, never ever hit goals. Never allow yourself to hit any goals, yeah? It's simply not a priority to hit your goals, right? So as you have your goals and as you set your goals and as you're working towards your goals, yeah, it's really important for you to see that you need to reset the goals as soon as you start to get near. If you actually hit your goals, what's going to happen? You're going to breathe a sigh of relief, all the adrenaline is going to disappear from yourself and you're going to chill out and you're going to get complacent. So it's so important that you reset your goals before you actually get there. Achieving goals is not productive at all. Set the goals, yeah, and continually reset those goals as you are growing forward and make sure those goals are always bigger and higher and more difficult to achieve, because that is what's going to keep you going. Never, ever, ever allow yourself to reach your goals. If you do that, game over, yeah, you're going to chill out and your business is going to be really effective. I allowed that to happen to me when I first came back to Asia after I'd been doing my business for 7 or 8 months. I was starting to get decent results in the sense that I was getting a few grand a month and I didn't have to worry about where my income was coming from. I was living back out in Southeast Asia, so life was cheap here. I didn't have to worry about too many expenses, and all of a sudden I put my feet up and I chilled out, and I'm like, yay, I'm back. This is what I wanted. I wanted to be back in Asia. I didn't want to have to work too hard, and I've achieved my goals. But in actual fact, that's not what I wanted. I wanted much more than that, much bigger than that. And the fact that I had realized I'd achieved my goals, I became complacent. Don't ever let that happen to you, yeah? Always reset those goals, always reach higher, and you'll see you will be way more productive that way, and your business will keep growing and growing, and so will you, all right? That is it from me. That is all the questions that I've been asked, and I've answered pretty much everything. If you have a question for me, if there's something that you want answering on pretty much any topic, feel free to post down below and to put a little comment and let me know, and I will happily film up another one of these videos at some point in the not too distant future. If you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, feel free to let me know, yeah? Put that in the comments, let's have a conversation, let's know your thoughts. You know, just because I say something doesn't mean that that is the only answer, and doesn't mean that I'm not willing to hear anybody else's answers. So I'm really happy to hear what you've got to say based on my points of view, based on the things that I have been saying this evening, and I hope that you've really enjoyed this video. It's a privilege for me to be able to come in front of everybody and let my brain out onto you guys, and I really appreciate the fact that you're there and that you've been listening. This has probably been going on for more than an hour, so if you're still watching it right now, yeah, cheers, I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to talking with everybody soon. One last thing, I made a little competition out of this, and the best question that I was going to get was gonna be the person that I was gonna invite to dinner in San Diego in June, when we are all out in San Diego for the CEO Live event. So instead of taking the decision myself, because I was looking at these questions and I really had no idea whose question to choose, I copped out and I asked Rai to do it, and I really appreciate you, Rai. Rai's been through all the questions and he gave me the winning questions. So I am going to be inviting Linda Heikkala out for dinner in San Diego. I hope you're going to San Diego, Linda, and if you are going there, please let me know, and if you're not going there, also let me know and I'll choose somebody else. But Linda, your questions were, in fact everybody's questions were awesome, but Rai has chose your question as being the best one, and I am looking forward to having a couple of hours and really working out what you're all about, and giving you whatever support and whatever insights that I'm able to give to you in that time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having dinner, Linda. So everybody, thank you very much for the questions. It's been a pleasure, and I will talk to everybody soon. Cheers.